I'm afraid we move on now to me. After that burst of energy, I'm going to give you a burst of sort of, not apathy exactly, but a sort of more measured approach, possibly. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to read in the first half from our latest collection, which is called Looking for Eden. And this is a poem. I was in Havana, and we went to a place called Park John Lennon, where, of course, there is a statue of John Lennon reclining on a bench, and the statue is made out of bronze. And as you approach the statue, a little park keeper comes around the corner with a pair of spectacles and asks if you would like the spectacles put on the statue so you can have a picture with the great man. Well, of course, you do. And the reason there is a man employed just to keep the spectacles is, of course, because tourists keep taking them as souvenirs. Oh. But anyway, I think it's great that Cuba is probably the only country in the world where there's a man employed as the keeper of John Lennon's glasses. Out of the shade steps the keeper of John Lennon's glasses, slips them over the ex-Beatles' bronze ears. I shove up next to the great man, put my arm around his shoulders, made too warm by the heat of the sun. You capture the moment when I meet John Lennon's likeness in Havana, a life-size casting on a bench, one leg draped casually over the other. I attempt to swap specs, but the keeper wags his finger. I take a moment to bless John for his life in my life. I place a coin in the keeper's palm in recognition of the sacred task he has been anointed so to do. It's not every day you meet the keeper of John Lennon's glasses. Let me take you down. I was travelling back from Amsterdam, and the girl sitting next to me on the flight offered me a biscuit, and so this is Biscuit Girl from Amsterdam. She was setting out on her world travels. I was returning to rainy London. Would you like a biscuit? Said the girl sitting next to me on the plane from Amsterdam. Her teeth so white I think she must eat only apples. I appreciatively take one, crunch away. They are like our English biscuit, the hobnob, I say. Her eyes widen, the hobnob. Those white teeth again, as she seriously digests this important information. We call them country cookies, she says at last. Isn't that funny, I think? Hobnob sounds much Dutcher than country cookies. She is on her way to Nepal, where neither hobnobs nor country cookies can easily be found. Instead, she will digest the thrill of exploring fresh lands, a world experienced through young senses, opening like a giant lotus hobnob in any flavour you like. Okay, so this is quite a nice poem to read tonight because it's lovely to read to a sea of faces, and this is called A Night Out with the Poets, and it's a poem that I wrote after going to a launch of a new poetry magazine, and this is the sort of thing that happens, and I hope will happen here tonight. It starts well enough. Hello's a tentative pint, a certain feeling of, is it worth it? The poets mingle warily, some huddle in corners, make scratchy revisions. The readings begin, a roundelay, polite applause, laughter, a matey heckle or two. The MC thanks everyone, sighs of relief escape like air. The real business begins. The poets reassemble into small groups. Drinking commences at a furious pace. The poems never had such value as the poets now. Absent poets damned, famous poets scorned. Heaney's just a journalist, Dylan Thomas is for schools. The barmaid calls time. The poets spill into the street, bawling now at the stars, smoking the foulest of weeds, snatching lyrics out of the firmament. The barmaid locks up, leaves the poets outside, swaying like posts in a typhoon. In the morning, the emptied glasses warmed by the sun, will tell no tales. I've just moved to the coast. In fact, one of the aspects of tonight's evening is we've got visiting poets from Kent, and I'm one of them. This is really reflecting the sort of weather you can expect at the coast at the moment and elsewhere. It's reading Chekhov in the beautiful rain. Reading Chekhov in the beautiful rain that falls on Thursdays, the nourishing rain at the comforting bus stop, reading Chekhov in that beautiful rain. Melancholy rain escaping surmise, washing from the pages of Chekhov also, allowing redemption to wash from the skies, feeding the soul with an inner glow. The rain that falls on Thursday evening, the rain that invests in our rivers and seas, the rain that compounds interest with ease. Imagining Chekhov in the beautiful rain, creating stories that mirror the season, scratching a legacy to leave the world, the people of Russia naked unfurled, here at this stop on a Thursday evening, safely sheltered from the beautiful rain, loving the sound as it hits the paving, our saviour from heaven filling the drain, watching the rain, the beautiful rain, sluicing and swooshing through Chekhov's terrain. On Thursday evening, an oasis of rhyme, the rain brings us nourishment in Chekhov time. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Before I introduce Francis, I'm just going to finish with this poem. I should say, I'm sure most of you know the format, that each poet will appear in each half. So this is, I was brought up as a Catholic, and although I'm a little bit lapsed now, the biblical stories stay with you throughout your life. And I started writing a series of poems, just trying to put these stories into the voice of an everyman. And this was the first poem I wrote, and it was after looking at the fresco by Da Vinci, where everyone's sitting at the table, but they're all facing out towards the viewer. I started thinking that's a strange way to throw a dinner party. You don't normally all sit on one side of the table, not unless you're very poor enemies. But so this is really a poem about the sort of place that the Last Supper might really have taken place in. It may have been his Last Supper, but the rest of us went on to eat again. The wine was poor and the bread stale, but we had delicious oranges for pudding, torn into segments. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. It wasn't spacious and grand, like in the pictures, but down a little side street. We were all squashed against the wall. Latecomers had to balance plates on their knees. 13 people together can be noisy. You really had to shout to get your point across. I proposed a toast to him. He wouldn't hear of it. To us all, he said. A great cheer went up. Why didn't we just slip over the border? He would still be here now, and the Last Supper would be a forgotten meal, except for the oranges, which were delicious, and the wine, which gave me a headache next day. Okay, well, I'd like to introduce a poet who admire greatly, who's been at Dodo gigs many times and performed with us. Frances White is associated with Merton Poets. She's been a teacher. She's got poems published in the Seventh Quarry, 3 new poems in there. There's a manuscript, there's a collection of poems here, A Ring of Words, which all the proceeds of that book sale will go to multiple sclerosis charities. And so I'd like to introduce Frances, who will tell you more. Please come to the Dodo stage.
Hello, it's good to be back with the Dodos, and so thanks to Patrick for inviting me, and thank you to all of you for coming. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fizzing, lively poems tonight,